7 interceptions have been against pressure. And you would think, now I know they didn't sack Cooper Rush at all when they played, a couple months ago, but you would think that Philadelphia is going to be able to put pressure on Dak, and he obviously has struggled against that. Secondly, Gardner Minshew is a top-of-the-line backup. But he also, Coach, he was a good running quarterback. I don't know that he obviously can't do what Jalen does, but can he run the option kind of like Jalen? They nullified Micah Parsons by running right at him. So they may still be able to do that with Gardner Minshew. So I think for those reasons, Coach, plus the Cowboys, that they could beat them.
Yeah, I don't see this as being a big upset scenario. What's the line, like 4.5?
4.5,
4.5,
yeah.
3 is usually if you're the away team. And then I think it reflects kind of where these two teams are, with or without Jalen. And Philadelphia, really, in every major statistical category, is better. And with Gardner Minshew, the most staggering thing to me is his TD to interception ratio. So he's at 41-12. And to put that in perspective, that's the 5th best since 2019. He's barely off your favorite son and several other of the elite quarterbacks. Now, obviously, his record doesn't reflect that, but that one statistic where he's able to generate the points that he's generated while protecting the football, to me, is a great thing for the Eagles.
Yeah, and I also think it's noteworthy that Philly beat Dallas earlier this year. I understand Cooper Rush was the quarterback, so I'm not overlooking that, but they did it without Jalen Hurts playing great. Jalen Hurts in that game had 182 total yards, passing and rushing combined. They did it by forcing Cooper Rush into 3 turnovers, and we might say, okay, Dak won't do that. Well, he might. I mean, Dak's had a couple turnovers in big spots in each of the last couple games. So I do think Philly absolutely can win this game without Jalen. And if they do, it sets up, and I just want to bounce this off you for a moment, Coach, a really interesting opportunity for them. Because if they win this game, they lock up the 1 seed. They don't just lock up the division, they lock up the 1 seed. I think there's always a risk with resting your team in the final week of the year if you have the bye. But if you lock it up with 2 weeks to go, I would think Sirianni should consider resting everyone in week 17 and then playing them in week 18. So you remove the injury possibility off the schedule, but don't have the 2-week lag where the rust could be a problem.
What is that, exercise?
What do you mean exercise?
Like week 18, what are they out there doing?
Well, I mean, I don't think you want to rest. I think we've seen teams that were rolling and they rest too long. Like, would you?
Yeah, well, it's the debate every season. So we always have it at the end of the preseason, and we have it at the end of the regular season. Do you rest your guys, or how much do you play them? And it's the rest versus rust debate, and it's gone both ways, where guys have rested and it's turned out poorly. They've rested and it's turned out great. So you've got to get a feel for your team. Now, definitely rest Jalen. Like, make sure that he's
for sure
completely healthy when he comes back. And then you're going to have some other guys that are more dinged up. And if you can get them some time to recover, that does give you a great advantage going in.
With 2 weeks to go in the season just opens up so many possibilities of what you can do if you want to be creative.
But you would want to play Jalen before his first playoff game.
Yeah. Look, I'm more inclined to play guys at least part of the time in each of those games, so you don't lose the momentum that you have. And some teams that play their way into the playoffs are just sharper than the teams that have had time to rest.
It's going to be the Patriots. Watch out.
Oh, yeah.
Mac Jones trying to get in.
Really?
Pro Bowl selections announced yesterday. Mahomes in, Joe Burrow in, Josh Allen in the AFC. Tua got the snub, but Nick, you think there was another problem. Josh Allen, the fearless leader of the number 1 seed Buffalo Bills, made it, and that really got in your craw.
It just doesn't make sense.
What?
Why?
Okay. If it's so, Mahomes and Burrow were definites, had to be in. Mm-hmm. So I left 1 spot open. If it's about the stats, it should be Tua. If it's about overcoming the most adversity and still having your team in it and carrying them, it should be Herbert. And if it's about who's the hottest right now, like people want to turn the MVP into, it should be Trevor. On none of those factors should it be Josh Allen. Again, this is where Josh Allen has 16 turnovers this season, which is more than any quarterback not named Mills or Ryan, and he has a worse rating than Andy Dalton. And in the last 2 months, he has had 1 great game. 1. It was the most recent one, and I know the most recent thing is the only thing, but still, we can show you what Josh Allen has been over the last 2 months of football. I know he was really good the first 6 weeks, but that to me does not a Pro Bowler make. And so, yeah, to me, I would have had Tua as the next Pro Bowler. I think there's a strong argument for Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen would have been 5th on my make-believe ballot.
36 touchdowns seems like a lot.
Nick,
So I lost your categories, though. It was like who overcame the most. This is like the tiers. Like who overcame the most adversity. Who wore the best
if it's numbers, then it's Tua.
to the pregame.
If it's numbers, then it's Tua.
What are the numbers that
Tua has the highest passer rating in all of football.
That's all he's got over Josh.
He has half the interceptions.
Who averages more yards per game?
Josh Allen.
When they played,
has more touchdowns?
when they played head to head, would
1-1-1 and 1-1 the other.
Right,
And
1-1-1, one of those games. Yeah, that's a lot to work at. He threw the ball 18 times. The other guy threw the ball 63 times.
Thank you.
They dominated the game. They absolutely
and they lost it
dominated
because
the game.
you're talking about the
It's
first
not
game.
about QB
They lost
wins,
it
though.
because
63 times at 400 yards.
I understand, and they lost that first game because of grievous mistakes by Josh Allen.
I don't think it was just Josh Allen's mistakes in that game. There were some cumulative mistakes to lose a game where you have 40 minutes of time of possession.
Okay, listen, Brew, you were arguing at one point that Tua might be league MVP, and now he can't be a Pro Bowler?
Not over those three.
Well, not over those three, just over one. Just over your guy, Josh.
No. I mean, this is Nick. I'm shocked.
I mean, Josh Allen has 700 yards rushing, too.
Right.
Yeah. Plus another 3 touchdowns rushing.
I mean, let me see this graphic. I didn't even put 2 on it. I thought you were going to argue because 2 is out of it. This is Josh Allen versus Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence.
I'm sorry that
Since in what world does a guy have a better record, more total yards per game by a nice margin, more total touchdowns? He's almost got twice as many touchdowns
but I'm
as
talking
Justin
about
Herbert.
Tua.
A higher passer
But
rating.
I'm talking
in
about
what
Tua.
world is he not higher
but
respected
I'm
than those
talking
guys?
about Tua.
Tua's got fewer yards per game, fewer touchdowns. He missed 3 games. He's falling apart as we speak.
Falling apart as we speak?
He's lost his last 3 games and has barely completed 50%. Actually, hasn't completed 50%
I thought he played
of
well
his
against the
passes
Bills.
over his last 3
and
games.
You're right that he has, because of the missed games, of course, he has fewer touchdowns than Josh Allen. But he also has actually a third of the turnovers.
Yeah, maybe because of the missed
worst thing a
games.
quarterback can do is turn the ball over. And Josh Allen has done it this year more than any quarterback in the league that hasn't been benched. How is that not relevant?
He scored 84% of his team's touchdowns. That is the most in the league. He's one of 3.
They don't.
I don't know. It went so far. But it went so far. If I was the ref, I would have blown the whistle.
Well, of course.
Goaltending.
You'd have fouled LeBron out after 6 minutes if you were the ref.
It wasn't goaltending. He had 31. More on this game later. Wonderful. South Alabama, Western Kentucky. Look at this interception from Banks. Boom! Ooh, that's a good one, Coach. Hilltoppers win it, though, 44-23. We'll get one more look at it.
Do you guys know what All-Pro went to South Alabama? Tyreek Hill.
Okay. Weird. Oakland, Michigan State. Tom Izzo, furious in an elf sweater. This is why I've said you have to wear a suit because you can be relaxed and it's all good, but it's hard to coach hard.
He's wearing that for charity.
No, he's not.
That was wild. I was worried about that. Wild before the show. Came in the office, was like, is Thomas wearing this for charity? Because I don't want to make fun of him if he is.
Fun of him. I'm just saying.
You are right, though, Wiles. Coach, isn't he right? Like, you can't be going off. like an elf.
I'm the ref.
It is hard to take it seriously.
Wonderful. Rockets, Frisky Magic.
Oh,
my God. Boom! Shingun again.
Look at the bottom line. It's
One of Nick's top 55.
why are you doing that to my guy Franz?
Which one is it? Is that Mo or
That's
Franz?
Franz. Franz is the guy on the list.
Franz, you said Mo or
Frisky Magic
You
win
got
by
it
6.
in my head.
Weird. Lakers back in Sacramento. Another one of Nick's guys. Patrick Bev.
Stop doing this.
That was
He's like, let's go.
They're down 19.
God, I can't stand him. I can't stand
He's
him.
like KD. He just wants to hoop. Don't worry about who wins, who loses, rankings.
He is
I
not
just wanna
just
hoop.
like KD
He's
in
exactly
anything
like
in life.
KD. Wonderful. Clippers, Hornets. Here's something you don't see all the time. What? An
Kawhi
alley-oop?
play?
No, Paul George and Kawhi both on the floor at the same time.
You're right about that, Wow.
Guess how many points Kawhi Leonard had in 31 minutes, Nick?
13.
16.
Oh, I thought
you
it was
always
13.
underestimate him.
13.
He had 16.
Bruce acting like that was outrageous. 13 and 16.
You missed it by 3.
There's a big difference between 16 and 13.
No, it's not a big difference. It's a
16
3-point
looks
difference.
decent. 13 is like, what's wrong?
What is up with Bruce?
Brady's in Arizona this weekend. Bucks have lost 2 in a row, sit at 6-8, but are favored by a touchdown and slated to host a playoff game. Here's Todd Bowles.
You correct the film and you go over the tape and you're still pissed off and disappointed regardless of what's in front of you. And you let it go the next day, and once you watch the tape and you move on, everything is still in front of us. So we're trying to win a division.